Okay, so this is the Week 6 recap and projections, and we'll take a look at the waiver ads because this is a pretty busy week. Big news, and we'll look at next week. Yeah, and some weird stuff, I gotta say. By Week 6 so far, um, I don't know. I think, I guess a lot of people just don't have to participate in the waivers, and I guess that's what it is. We'll get there. I'll get there. I'll get to it. So let's look at week 6. I hate how I'm always at the top of this thing. We'll go ahead and do it. So I played Blake. It was an incredibly close game. We were both projected low, like 88 points to 89 points or something like that. I ended up winning 110 to 99. It came down to Amari Cooper on my end versus Andy Dalton on his end, and Andy Dalton put up 11 points and Amari Cooper put up 17 with a late garbage time touchdown. So, sorry, Blake, you're on the losing end again. Sorry, not sorry. I mean, I wanted to win, so I go to 3-3, middle of the pack. Blake is fallen to 1-5. It's going to be very difficult to dig his way out of this particular hole, but if anybody can do it, it's Blake. I have faith in you. Next team up, we've got Derek. So Derek's been on a tear the last 2 weeks. This week he scored 152. Last week he scored in the 150s, defeating Arthur 107-152. Derek is skyrocketing. Man, he's going to be tough. I think this week we'll look at the projections, but I think he's projected high again. You know, Derrick Henry putting up a monstrous 212 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns with another 57 yards receiving. Biggest game of his career. Monstrous. What was the stat that they had said? It was like Derrick Henry since 2018 has got 3 200-yard rushing games. The rest of the NFL has 3 200-yard rushing games. So Derrick Henry is going beast mode. Everybody on Derek's team really performing, with the exception of Baker Mayfield putting up a fucking egg, which is crazy to me because he still put up 152 points, with Baker Mayfield putting up 5.5 points, Jarvis Landry putting up 5.5 points. So that's incredible. When you got 60 points out of 2 players, when you got 70 points out of, 40, 50, 60, 70, no, excuse me, 80 points out of 3 players, it's not too hard to put up 152. Arthur's team looking relatively pedestrian, with the exception of Kenyon Drake obviously having a great game himself. But, if you had a Browns player, you were fucked this week. I had Kareem Hunt, fucked. The Browns got manhandled. Browns got absolutely manhandled, and it was not fun to watch. So Derek moves to 3-3, 6 overall. Arthur, who was in first place for a little while, has now fallen to 4th. I don't know what to say for Arthur. I guess, Drew Brees was on a bye, so it's difficult when you're losing, when you don't have him. Gardner Minshew putting up a pedestrian 17.5 points, so what are you going to do? So Derek goes to 3-3. ESPN takes forever load. Come on, buddy. Okay, so Josh played Chad. There's no point in talking about it because that's an automatic win. Josh putting up 142, which is very good. Behind Pittsburgh's 21 points. Lamar Jackson finally having a good game at 28, and Deshaun Watson putting up 32. Chad, I don't know, man. Your third highest points that week was Teddy Bridgewater with 9.5. They should bring Bortles into Carolina. He was a better quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater was in college, so it's got to be an improvement. Chris. So Chad is now 0-6. Josh is 4-2. Third place, and Chad is rapidly looking at Sacco status. Then we've got David Serbone losing a close game against Chris Hussein. Again, Chris Hussein just can't lose. Couldn't lose if he tried to lose. 141.5 to 135.7. That's another bad beat for Serbone. I think it was the same story last week. He lost a close game. So, Just needed a little bit more. Carson Wentz way outperforming, I think, his normal. I think, what is Carson Wentz normally putting up? Average points is 20. He puts up 30. So, you know, that was, you got more than what you paid for there. George Kittle putting up, 20 points out of a tight end. That's fucking crazy. I was looking at your team because I wanted to see if I could shop around a player to Serbone. I was like, I don't think Serbone needs anything. I was like, maybe I can get something for Gronk. We'll talk. If you see this video, Serbone, let me know. Top players for Chris. Justin Jefferson. Average 14.5 points, and he goes and he puts up 35. My God. And then obviously, Patrick Mahomes only putting up 21. What is his average this year? 26.5. So Chris Roses goes to 5-1, and David Serbone's 3-3, 5th and 1st respectively. Sean Sendra playing Jeremy Noller, and it's so funny. Like, Jeremy is another one of these guys that just can't seem to hit that unlucky streak. That's not true. And we'll talk about that in a minute. That's not true. I think if any team deserves to be in second, it would be Jeremy. And I hate giving Jeremy compliments and whatever, but it's true. Like Chris, it is what it is. But with Jeremy, yeah, I think that was fine. Josh Allen finally having a bad game, only putting up 15 points. CEH putting up 19. And Julio Jones is back, making Matt Ryan look good, putting up 30-point game. I fucking hate you, Jeremy. Sean Sendra falling to 2-4 at 110, putting up 110 points versus 123. This was the week to beat Jeremy. It was it, and Sean's team just didn't quite do it, even though Tampa Bay put up 22 points. What happened to the rest of Sean's team here? Just shit the bed? 110, 28 points. Aaron Jones putting up 11.5. Myles Gaskin putting up 15. Chris Godwin putting up 7.5. Yeah, I have him to him. Cooper Kupp is not looking great this year. Streaky, I guess, would be the word. Yeah, 6, 10, 22, 15, 9, 3. It's not a great trend. Gillespie putting up 0. Devin Singletary putting up 5. I got him in my other league, so I'm feeling the pain there. But Tampa Bay putting up 22. Tampa Bay's defense looks fucking legit. If they can keep that going through the rest of the season, they've got a very good chance as a deep playoff run. Justin Tucker with 16 points. My boy. Anyway, 5-1 for Jeremy in second place, but, arguably the strongest team in the league, I think. But he just keeps managing to squeak them out. Fucking him and Chris. They're the squeakers, the squeaker boys. And then last up, we've got Vecchio versus Tyler. Tyler losing 87-106. Tyler having a terrible game. Again, when your defense is in your top 3, that's not a great sign, I suppose. And Ryan Vecchio 3-3, going to 9th place. Tyler Grumbles 3-3, falling to 7th place. A lot of 3-3 teams, good parity, which I like to see. Tyler's team just didn't do much, did they? Oh, it was Aaron Rodgers having, the worst game of his career. I think statistically it was, the worst game of his career. Like a QBR of, 35 or some shit, which is crazy. But we know how this story goes, right? Right? Aaron Rodgers has a bad game, turns into, MVP status. So I'm sure he'll be fine. Mike Boone putting up a point. Would you have a bad bye week or Corona week? Yeah, because Melvin Gordon. Oh, yeah, because Dalvin Cook was out, Melvin Gordon was out, Sony Michel was out. So you had to lean on old Mike Boone, huh? Well, you gotta do what you gotta do. D-Hop having a bad game. Evan Ingram having a bad game. It's just so hard to trust the Giants. Who knew that Saquon Barkley was the fucking anchor point for that offense, huh? Kirk Cousins having a good game, 23 points. Normally, I don't see him have that. Yeah, average is 15, so he went over the top. I cannot believe in week 2, Kirk Cousins had a minus 2-point game. I thought I was unlucky with my minus 1 points 2 weeks ago with Jimmy G, that fucking bum. Anyway, so Tyler had a bad beat with lots of injuries and underperformance by his players. So, what are you going to do? So, at this point of the season, then we've got a bunch of 3-3 teams, which is cool. We've got Chris Hussein in first place, 5-1, followed up by Jeremy, Josh at 4-2, Arthur at 4-2, and then we've got the 3-3s, which is me, Derek, Tyler, Serbone, and Vecchio, and then it goes to 2-4 with Sean, and then there's really kind of quite a steep fall off. I mean, 2-4 still in the hunt, but then unfortunately, with Blake being 1-5 and then Chad 0-6, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to come back. But I was looking at, I always like to complain every year at fantasy football about the points for and the points against. I'm always saying, the points against, if you get fucked with points against, you can't control that. You're just playing the highest point score every week. And this season, it's Blake. Blake's put up a respectable 7.79, which would be good on a points for, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th place if you're going by pure points for. But the problem is he's playing high points most of the weeks, or within that top kind of 3-4. So he's at 888. So by far the highest points against. Chad, unfortunately getting bad points for at 626. He's in dead last there, so that makes sense. But then he's also at 821, which is the third highest points against. So when you got those kind of combos, it's impossible to come back, and that trend does not seem to be changing at all. Chris Hussein is at 859. He has the overall number one spot for points for, so that makes sense. But then his points against is 744. So, his points against is not low, but his points for. So, Chris is doing well. But Jeremy has had 825 points against, which is the second highest, and 844 points for. So, that tells me that Jeremy's winning all these close games that he needs to, kind of like this week and I think last week as well. Josh at 837 and 703, getting the benefit of the lower points against, in my opinion. Scoring, obviously, 837 is very good, but, that 703 makes a world of difference, right? Because if you've got 703 points against, every team, with the exception of Chad, would probably have the same winning record, truth be told. So Josh is getting lucky on that 703. Arthur, a little bit closer to parity, 763 to 722. I think the trend of him losing recently is because his team, his points for was way up there initially, but it slowed way down. 826 for Serbone and 794, so he's losing those coin flip games. Derek Gallo storming back at 805 and 815. So, like I said, the last 2 weeks he's scored like 300 points. In just the 2 weeks, I think he's at 300 points. So his team has all of a sudden just fucking skyrocketed. Tyler, he had a bad week this week, but he's got the lowest points against. 686. He's 686 and 756, and he's 3-3. I don't know, Tyler. Probably just really bad at fantasy football, if I'm going to be honest with you. That's not great. I am at 752 and 755 at 3-3. So my points against is not horrible, but my points for is not great either. So I'm pretty much in that 5, 6, 7, 8 range. I'm about where I should be. I got it. What can I say? I'm surprised I'm even this high at 752 with the fucking injuries. Then we got Ryan Vecchio at 723 and 768, and that's kind of where the story goes, is that now we can see your points against is higher than your points for, and that's the trend. It's pretty much in line. So nothing too surprising. I think the only one that's gotten fucked here is Blake, and to a certain degree Chad. Putting up 626. If he had Tyler's issue of 626 to 686, and he'd probably still have the same record. That's still a 40-point differential. Spread out over 6 weeks, maybe he gets 1 or 2 wins in there, but he'd probably still be last or near last. So, you got to manage your team, Chad. You got to start working. Speaking of, so teams in a perpetual attempt to rebuild, let's look at the free agent offers for this week so I can get angry at somebody. Last week it was Chris, because he is a disgusting attempt to take my Chase Claypool, which was never going to happen. So let's look here. So, and this is where I don't understand. I know Vecchio's never going to watch this fucking thing. So maybe someone could explain to me why people still have near max budget. So, Derek doesn't need to do a whole lot of moves, and I don't think he did because his team is fine, so he doesn't need to do anything, which I can understand. But like Ryan Vecchio's team is iffy, and this week he put in a bid of $0 for Young Ho Koo, which is a great kicker. $0 for the 49ers. And I don't understand why. Like Young Ho Koo ended up going for, I put in a dollar bid. I want to say $8. $8. Put in $9. Put in $10. You got $196 left in your budget. Same for the 49ers defense. 49ers defense went for $0 to Tyler because he won on he had a higher waiver priority. I mean, put in $2. I don't understand why you're so fucking cheap when it's week 6, you're 3-3, you're going into week 7. What's the point of holding on to this fucking money? I don't get it. So Tyler picks up the 49ers D, puts in a $0 bid for Young Ho Koo. I think I put in a dollar for Young Ho Koo. Jeremy puts in $2 for the Cowboys defense. I thought about picking up the Cowboys D, but I decided just to stick with Washington. Washington's averaging like 11 points a fucking game fantasy, so why? Fuck it. Their defensive line is fucking so nasty. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Jamichael? I think it's Jamichael, but spelled Mycal. Jamichael Hasty for $3, dropping Mike Boone. I don't blame you. We just covered what Mike Boone did for you. Nothing. Maybe he'll do better. Blake putting in a bid of $5 for Young Ho Koo. Blake putting in $5 for Brandon McManus, and he got him. I'm surprised you dropped. Is Blankenship on a bye? Blankenship was doing pretty good, I thought. Josh picking up Young Ho Koo for $8. Young Ho Koo was popular this week, huh? Big expectations, I guess. Blake spending $8 on Jimmy G and picking him up. I wish you all the best with Jimmy G. After a quarterback gives me -1 points in a regular season game, I won't ever touch them again. And this I was very excited about this. And I'm really surprised that like Josh or Blake or Chris or Jeremy or maybe even Arthur wouldn't have tried to at least run some kind of gambit against me. Because we all know that I will overbuy on Alabama players. I'm guilty of it every year. I do it every year. I'm a fucking sucker. And for the first time in, I don't know, I want to tell you like, well, I in my lifetime, Alabama does not produce NFL quarterbacks. In my lifetime, there has never been a, like McCarron, like A.J. McCarron, he never fucking starts. He doesn't start. Nobody gives a shit about A.J. McCarron. He rides the pine. So Tua, finding out yesterday that Tua's going to be the starter for Miami, and nobody wanted to put in like a $25 or $35 bid, right? And then I would have to haggle with you and give you a good player because I want Tua for next year as a keeper. I feel like you guys are not playing the 4D chess I expected you to. I was kind of disappointed. I got Tua for $18. Will Tua amount to anything in the NFL? Personally, I think so. Because if Justin Herbert can do it with the Chargers, Tua can fucking do it. Because Tua is a way fucking better quarterback. But, $18. I was really surprised by that. I'm really shocked that no one put in like a little $30 bid. Because you knew I was fucking broke. If you look at the waiver amount, I only had, I want to say, 18 or 19, I had $19, I think, or $20, I think, is all I had left over. So if you put in $21, I'm out Tua, and now I got to come grovel to you for a fucking trade, and nobody did it. Okay. And then Matt Ryan going for $22. Tyler kind of like doing what I did, I guess, going back and forth with Matt Ryan. I'm not sure if Tyler had Matt Ryan, but I know that Matt Ryan's been kind of up and down, especially with Julio gone. He looks terrible. Julio's back. He looks great. So hopefully Julio stays healthy for Tyler. But then the other thing was, let's look at the activity here. And I think the waivers had covered that. Adding Tennessee Titan defense. Was there anything there? Oh, Blake dropped Matt Ryan and picked up Andy Dalton last week. But that it's going to happen, right? You're just going to, with these quarterback situations, it's like constant. Just wanted to look in here for anything else. Brashad Perriman was added. Young Ho Koo, 49ers. Ryan, I dropped Fitzpatrick for Tua. Joey Sly. I don't really see anything. Jared Cook. All right. Hey, whoa. Chad's doing something. Chad did something. Chad did a thing. He picked up Jared Cook and dropped the Titans D. And he's got a budget of $177. He must not be looking at this stuff the night before or the day before. It's got to be, right? Yeah, he picked him up at 8:30 this morning. So, but what's this here I see? 10:58 a.m. Jameson Rammer Jammers added Antonio Brown from free agency and dropped Cameron Brate? What? The rumor mill is that Antonio Brown may be back on a team in 2 weeks. I'm not ever going to start Cameron Brate, so I don't give a fuck. But it was simply too tempting to pick up Antonio Brown, seeing as how his suspension ends in week 8, I think. I think he's got this game, and then he could start next game, potentially, or 2 weeks he could start, something like that. It's soon. And that crazy motherfucker's going to play somewhere. No one's going to let that kind of talent go by. Not even how insane he is. The NFL just simply can't do it. So we'll see how Antonio Brown goes, if at all. But fuck it, Cameron Brate's a goddamn bum, so I don't care anyway. Okay, free agent, that's done. This is a longer video than I expected it to be. I apologize. So, free agent budget summary. We covered that. So this week, quick preview, and then I'm done. Let's look at... Oh my god, I hate this thing. Okay, I'm going to play Derek. I am certain that he is projected to score way higher than me. I don't think there's been any week that I've been projected higher than somebody else. I think, like, me against Blake was, like, the only time. Yeah, 133 to 121. Chad is expected to beat Arthur. Again, did you guys set your lineups? I have no idea. Arthur, I'm rooting for you against Chad. You're expected to lose, but I'm sure you didn't set a player. Derek, I want to beat you significantly, so, I hope Baker Mayfield has another 5-point game. And Derrick Henry has a come-down-to-earth game, not fucking 40 points, which I'm sure he will. Because Derrick Henry is playing... Pittsburgh? Ain't no 40-point game for him. That ain't happening. And I've got him in my other league, so I want him to perform, but just not that great. Chris is projected at, of course, 145 against Blake at 125. Get him, Blake. You can do it. Okay, so here we got Jeremy's playing Josh, 143 points against 130 points. These 140-point projections are just obscene. Obscene. It's obscene to be projected that high. And Sir Bones kind of right in that hunt, too. 140 versus 120 versus Tyler. That's a 3-3, 3-3, so I don't give a shit who wins. Tyler, I guess I'll root for you. You need a little pick-me-up in life, I think. Josh is going up against Jeremy. I want further parity, so Josh, take him down. And then we've got Ryan Vescio versus Sean, 3-3, 2-4. I want more parity. That looks to be the closest game of the week at 115, 118. Sean, I'd like to see it 3-4. So go ahead and take out Ryan Vescio. Those are my requests of the week and the Week 7 preview and the Week 6 review. So good luck to everybody that I want to win, and fuck all of you that I want to lose.